And probably the thing I was most excited for in these last 2 weeks is what we're about to talk about, which is Desus and Mero back on Showtime. Bodega Boys in the building, dog.
The
So they
brand
were
is very strong.
obviously, yeah, very strong. And, they were, what were they on for? Vice? And
Viceland.
Viceland. And they were, I wouldn't say kicked off, but they basically like broke their contract and decided to sign with Showtime. And then because of that, they weren't on for the 10 months, 9 months, something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What did you think of their return?
Yeah, I think it's kind of everything I think most fans, Bodega Hive fans, would want. It's Desus and Mero not compromising who they are or what they do well, but also kind of getting that Showtime bump, if you will. It's like a real set that isn't being used by Viceland executives for meetings when they're not recording. That's nice, I guess. Has a live studio audience, which I think I saw some comments that people weren't as big a fan of it. They preferred the Viceland set where it's just like the producers and people laughing. But I think that live studio audience kind of makes it feel more big time, more respectable, right? And they have a bigger budget, and I think that shines through the most with they have a real writing team now, which is great. I think again, like legitimate late night shows have writers. That's good. But also they're spending that budget on like skits and stuff out of the set. And man, did they pick a great one this week with the Green Book joke. Super on the nose and really funny. And I think that's ultimately the key with Desus and Mero is the dudes have great chemistry and they're just fucking hilarious. And they're hilarious when they're just riffing. But listen to any of the promo they've done for this. It's just really fun because that's just how talented they are. But now they have people actually writing real jokes to their strengths. It's just really exciting. And they've also said that they don't want this to just become a press stop where people promote what they're doing, which is unfortunately what everything else in late night is like right now. I mean, yes, you have like good segments like Seth Meyers' Closer Look and like everyone else with their bread and butters, but I think Desus and Mero just focusing on them and having guests that are there to be talk with them, right? I think that's really exciting proposition. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the Showtime run because they're definitely moving up, and that's great.
Yeah, and I give them a lot of credit because obviously AOC is a rock star in politics, but I didn't think she was a great guest on here. She didn't bring a lot to the table in terms of like humor, but it kind of allowed them to keep their stick. And I really thought like the fat heads and the things that they brought to like bring the Bronx to DC was a pretty funny bit. I think what they do really well, and something that especially is difficult in late night right now, is they make you feel like you're laughing with them instead of laughing at something. And I think that's why a lot of times people, I don't know, especially with like Colbert or even Kimmel in some way, they are so politically based in terms of their humor that it can feel just more tiring, like it's more just part of the machine. And they do a really good job of just, like you said, riffing and making you feel kind of like you're just sitting like in a bodega with them, just like shooting the shit. And it's really awesome. I thought the Green Book skit was awesome. They're just they're probably my favorite people in late night, hands down at this point. So late night I think is like kind of a, I don't know, stupid for lack of a better term, like way to like look at TV still. I don't know anyone my age that watches it or any of our peers that do, but if Desus and Mero want to keep that as their lane, I'm here for it. I'll be following them for sure. Any last thoughts on them before we move on?
Yeah, I think the key to watch with them is most of their audience was not really a Viceland subscriber. They were watching it on YouTube, where the whole episode and all the clips will be clipped out after the show aired. Now, Showtime did put the first episode up on YouTube, and they are going to do digital shorts like they do with all their shows. But it'll be interesting to see how much digital content they put out, because that really is the success of late night these days, is catching on with viral clips that catch on later. SNL is kind of the same way. But Showtime still wants you to subscribe. It's not like ABC, which everyone has already, So I'm interested to see like where that goes in terms of like, do they drive enough Showtime subscribers for the show, or do people largely sit back and just settle for what they get for free? It'll be interesting to watch because they have a younger audience, which generally does
Mhm.
not strictly subscribe for stuff just for one thing. But we'll see how low the fan base is.